Good afternoon, children. Let's continue with the play On the Face of It, written by Susan Hill.
A very good afternoon to you all. The other day we started with this chapter on the face of it. I'm just telling you in brief what we did the other day. Derry is on the face of it. This chapter is this is a beautiful play, a conversation between two people. One is an old man, Mr. Lamb, and the other is Derry, a 14-year-old boy who is attracted towards nature, but he is otherwise a very reserved kind of a person, a very defiant kind of a person, and he jumps over the wall and he enters into Mr. Lamb's garden. And Mr. Lamb notices him and he just gives him a warning to walk carefully lest he should just trip over the wind fallen apples. Okay, what happens thereafter? Derry is surprised. He's startled because he enters into the garden thinking that nobody is there, thinking that the garden was empty. Okay, and Mr. Lamb makes him feel comfortable. He eases him by just telling him not to bother about his presence, not to bother about anything, and he also makes him comfortable by saying that the gates are always open and he could have entered through the gate, only he prefers to jump over the wall. Okay, and still Derry is not comfortable and he wants to go away from there. What is the reason why Derry doesn't like meeting people, doesn't like being with people? Raise your hands. Why is it that Derry does not like being with people? Raise your hands. Yes, um, Alam.
Because the reason is because he has a burnt face due to some accident in past, and that's why most of the people judge him and pity on him, and he does not like that the way the people see him, and that's why he feels uncomfortable with people
He feels
and he wants to
uncomfortable.
avoid.
Yes, very good. He wants to avoid people. He wants to avoid any sort of company. He doesn't like being with people because he feels that the moment people look at his face, they are afraid of him, and also they take pity on him. They just address him by saying, "Poor boy, how ugly he looks." No, this is what the people talk about him, and he can hear what they are thinking about him or what they are talking about him. Okay, so he's afraid, he feels that people are afraid of him, and that is why he wants to go from Mr. Lamb's garden also, because he had entered into the garden thinking that the garden was empty. Okay, face got burnt up due to acid, and he says that it has eaten not only my face, it ate me up, it ate my face up, and it ate me up. And the other day, as Alam said, this is not only just physical disability that he's suffering from. He feels that this because of this acid thing on his face, it has destroyed his entire self, and he's not able to come out of it, and he keeps on thinking about it throughout the day, and that is why he doesn't like being with people. Okay, and so Mr. Lamb time and again tries to brush aside his thoughts about himself, and he keeps on motivating him. He keeps on telling him, and he gives an example of weeds, and he says, "I like growing weeds because he feels that for Mr. Lamb, weeds and flowers are one and the same thing. They both are growing, and he wants to stress upon the fact that similarly, Derry and Mr. Lamb are same. If Derry has a burnt face, Mr. Lamb has a tin leg. They are alike, and they are living beings. They are human beings, and they are alike. But Derry does not have the same opinion. Okay, he says we are not the same. Okay, we were at on page number 59, and we are going to continue from here. So please, participants, those who are doing the role play, just continue with. I'm going to share the content also. Open your books, and I'm going to share it from here also. Lamb says, "I am old, you are young. You've got a burnt face, I've got a thin leg. Not important. This is not important. Look beyond the physical disabilities. This is what Mr. Lamb is trying to say. You are standing there, I am sitting here. Where's the difference? Why have you got a thin leg? Real one got blown off years back. It got blown off during a war. This is what he means to say, and that was long time back. And some kids, they address me, they call me by the name Lammy Lamb. Haven't you heard them? You will. Lammy Lamb. It fits. It doesn't trouble me. I'm not bothered by the fact that some children. This we have done, but I have not explained it. I have not explained it, Vishwajit. It doesn't trouble me if people call me Lamey Lamb. It fits me, and I am not bothered. Okay. But you can put on trousers and cover it up, and no one sees. They don't have to notice and stare. Some do, some don't. They get tired of it in the end. There's plenty of other things to stare at. He says, don't just keep on restricting yourself to one point, your face or your disabilities that you are having. There are plenty of other things to look at into this. So many beautiful things in the world to look at. Why are you just concentrating on one aspect of your life? He says, like my face, he still comes back to the same point. He says, there are other things apart from your thin leg. You're right, there are other things, and like my face, people continue staring at my face. He says, like crab apples. He says, no, there are so many things. You can just look around you. Even in my garden, you'll see crab apples, you'll see weeds, you'll see a spider climbing up a silken ladder, or my tall sunflowers. But he says, they are just things. It's all relative, Beauty and the Beast. We were here on this particular dialogue. By this, it's all relative, Beauty and the Beast. It's all relative, Beauty and the Beast. What's that? He doesn't understand. He cannot explain. He is not able to follow it, and he says, "What do you mean by this?" Ronit Sen Gupta wants to reply. You tell me. Derry says, "You need not think they haven't all told me that fairy story before." Just continue with your role play, then I'll explain. You need not think. यहाँ से शुरू करो. Derry से. Alam.
You needn't think they haven't told me that fairy story before. It's not what you look like. It's what you are inside. Handsome is as handsome does. Beauty loved the monstrous beast for himself. And when she kissed him, he changed into a handsome prince. Only he wouldn't. He haven't stayed a monstrous beast. I won't change.
In that way? No, you won't.
And no one will kiss me, ever. Only my mother, and she kisses me on this other side of my face. And I don't like my mother to kiss me. She does it because she has to. Why should I like that? I don't care if nobody kisses me.
Ah, but do you care if you never kiss them?
What?
Girls, pretty girls, long hair and large eyes, people you love.
Who would let me? Not one.
Who can tell?
I won't ever look different. When I'm as old as you, I will look the same. I'm still only have half a face.
So you will. But the world won't. The world's got a whole face, and the world's there to be looked at.
Do you think this is the world, this old garden?
When I'm here, not the only one, but the world as much as anywhere.
Okay, hold on. So he says it's all relative, and then he talks about that fairy tale, Beauty and the Beast. Yes, Ronit, you wanted to say something. Ronit, where is Ronit? Alam.
And the beast part, I want to say that he says like he uses the Beauty and the Beast part because in the Beauty and the Beast, the beauty, the main character, fallen in love with the other character's personality. Just because he was a quite really physical traits did not affect her that much. And she
Yes.
felt all the personality. So that's why what was trying to say here.
Yes, he gives the reference of Beauty and the Beast just to prove it to it that handsome is as handsome does. This is what he says. You are not beautiful from outside. What you are, what your actions are, how you behave in the society, what you do for the others, and this is what makes you beautiful. This is what makes you handsome. But he takes it literally, and he says, "I'm not going to have anybody in my life, and even my, he says, even my mother." He feels so hurt. He says that nobody is going to ever kiss me, and my mother does so, but she also kisses me on the other side. Not the side that has been burnt, but the other side of my face. This is what Delhi has to say. He says, and also he says, when I grow up as old as you, I'm still going to be the same. I will look the same, and I will have. He's so much absorbed in his burnt face, in his acid attack face, that he says that I will have only half a face. This is what he says, and this is what he feels. Mr. Lamb says, but the world has got a whole face, and the world is there to be looked at. Why don't you just make yourself busy in looking at things around you? Why are you so much absorbed in your own self? Just very, Mr. Lamb tries to motivate him and tries to just get him out of that world into which he has just confined himself to. Do you think this is the world, this old garden? He says, when Mr. Lamb says, when I'm here, not the only one, but the world as much as anywhere. He says, if I am in my garden, this is the world for me. But then there is world beyond this also, and you have to explore the things around you. You have to explore the world around you. Yes, continue. Does your leg hurt you? Very.
Hurt you?
Tin doesn't hurt, boy.
When it came off, did it?
Certainly.
And now, I mean, where the tin stops at the top.
Now and then, in wet weather, it doesn't signify.
Oh, that's something else they all say. Look at all those people who are in pain and brave and never cry and never complain and don't feel sorry for themselves.
I haven't said it.
And think of all those people worse off than you. Think you might have been blinded or gone deaf or have to live in a wheelchair or be daft in your head and dribble.
And that's all true, and you know it.
It won't make my face change. Do you know? One day, a woman went up by me in the street. I was at a bus stop, and she was with another woman. And she looked at me, and she said, whispered, only I heard her. She said, "Look at that. That's a terrible thing. That's a face only a mother could love."
So you believe everything you heard then?
It was cruel.
Maybe not meant as such, just something said between them.
Only I heard it. I heard.
And is that the only thing you ever heard anyone say in your life?
Oh no, I have heard a lot of things.
So now you keep your ears shut.
You are peculiar. You say peculiar things. You ask questions. I don't understand.
I like to talk, have company. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to stop here at all. The gate's open.
Yes, but
I have a hive of bees behind those trees over there. Some hear bees and they say bees buzz. But when you listen to bees for a long while, they hum and hums means sing. I hear them singing, my bees.
but I like it here. I came in because I liked it. When I looked over the wall.
If you had seen me, you would not have come in.
No,
No.
it would have been trespassing.
Ah, that's not why.
I don't like being near people. When they stare, when I see them afraid of me,
Getting afraid, being afraid.
You
Okay, hold on, Rhythm, for a while. So he says, does your leg hurt you? Tin doesn't hurt, boy. He says, my leg is of tin now and tin doesn't hurt. But when it came off, when it was blown off during the war, did it hurt then? Yes, certainly. And now, I mean, where the tin stops, at the top, does it hurt there? Now and then, in wet weather, it doesn't signify. He says it is not of importance. Oh, that's something else they all say. Again, he's come back to his own disability, his own face. He says, look at, I've heard people saying, I've heard people talking about me, and I've heard people saying, what do they say? Look at all those people who are in pain and brave and never cry and never complain and don't feel sorry for themselves. He says, the world is there, people are there, and people try to motivate you by saying such things, but nobody gets motivated by this. क्या बोलते हैं लोग कि और भी लोग हैं दुनिया में, उनको देखो, ठीक है, वो कितनी दर्द सह रहे हैं, और वो कभी कंप्लेन नहीं करते, उनसे उनसे आप इंस्पिरेशन लो, उनसे मोटिवेशन लो. I haven't said it. Mr. Lam says that I never said such things to you. And think of all those people worse off than you. जो जिनके तुम्हारे से भी ज्यादा बुरे हाल है. Think you might have been blinded, you might have been born deaf, or have to live in a wheelchair, or be daft in your head. What do you mean by being daft in your head? What is being daft in your head? Does anyone know the meaning of it?
Not fit.
Not fit, daft in your head. Not fit in what sense?
Basically, a mad person.
Mentally challenged. Okay, those who are mentally challenged and dribble, and that's all true. And you know what he says? If people say so, Mr. Lamb says, if people say such things, then that is all true. You have, you have your hands working, you have your legs working, you have your entire body in fit condition. Then why just bothered about one aspect, that is your face? It won't make my face change. He's again back to the same thing, the same rant. It won't make my face change. Do you know one day what I heard, what I overheard? A woman went by me in the street. I was at a bus stop and she was with another woman and she just looked at me and she said, actually, she didn't want me to hear it. She just whispered, only I heard her. She said, look at that. Just look at that face. That's a terrible thing. That's a face only a mother could love. So you believe everything you hear then? She says, it was very cruel of her to have said such a thing to me. Maybe not meant as such, just something said between them. Maybe it was not meant to be heard by you. She just said something to her companion. It was, and she just whispered it, and she didn't mean to be cruel. Only I heard it, I heard. And is that the only thing you ever heard anyone say in your life? This is uh, why are you just concentrating on such things? Are these the only things that you have heard in your life about your face? Haven't you heard anything else? Oh no, I've heard a lot of things. So now you keep your ears shut. Says you are peculiar. What is peculiar?
Strange or odd.
Yes, he says you are very odd, you are a very different kind of a person, you are very strange, and you say peculiar things. You ask questions, you're asking me questions, and I'm not understanding them. I don't understand them. He says, I like to talk. I like being with people. I am a very social kind of a person. I like to have company. You don't have to answer questions. If I'm putting up questions to you, that doesn't mean that you have to answer. I like asking questions. It is up to you to respond or not. You don't have to stop here at all. आपको यहाँ पे रुकने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. Because the gates open, you can go anytime, whenever you wish to. Yes, but he says he's confused. For the first time in his life, he wants to be there. He doesn't know what to say. He says, I have a hive of bees behind those trees over there. Some here bees. Underline this. Underline this. These lines. Says some here bees, and they say bees buzz. Okay, there is difference in your perception of things, in your attitude towards things. This is what Mr. Lamb wants to say. But when you listen to bees for a long time, They don't buzz. That is not buzzing of bees, it's an irritating sound. They hum. And hum means sing. I hear them singing my bees. So it is how you perceive things, how you look at different things. Different people have different attitude towards the same things. So he says that you have to change your, this is what he tries to say to Derry, you have to change your attitude, you have to change the way you perceive, you have to change your perception towards things and towards life. For me, bees don't buzz, they sing, they hum. Okay. And he says, but I like it here, I came in because I liked it. When I looked over the wall, I like it here, he says, I wanted to enter into the garden, I like nature, I wanted to be here. And if you had seen me, you would not have come in. अगर मुझे देख लिया होता तो definitely you would not have come. And he says, no, I wouldn't have come. And why? Because it would have been trespassing. But Mr. Lamb says that is not the reason. That is not the reason. You wouldn't have come in because you don't like being with people. If you had seen me, then you wouldn't have entered into my garden because you don't like the company of anyone. That's not why. But he tries to defend himself by saying, oh, that is not the reason. Yes, continue, Derek.
See them being afraid of me.
You could lock yourself up in a room and never leave it. There was a man who did that. He was afraid, you see, of everything. Everything in this world. A bus might run him over, or a man might breathe deadly germs onto him, or a donkey might kick him to death, or lightning might strike him down, or he might love a girl and the girl would leave him, and he might slip on a banana skin and fall, and people who saw him would laugh their heads off. So he went into his room and locked the door and got into his bed and stayed there
Forever?
for a while.
Then what?
A picture fell off the wall onto his head and killed him. You see,
But you still say peculiar things.
peculiar to some.
What do you do all day?
Sit in the sun, read books. Ah, you thought it was an empty house, but inside it's full. Books and other things, full.
But there aren't any curtains at
I'm not fond of curtains, shutting things out, shutting things in. I like the light and the darkness and the windows open to hear the wind.
Yes, I like that. When it's raining, I like to hear it on the roof.
So, you're not lost, are you? Not altogether. You do hear things, you listen.
Okay, hold on, hold
They
on. Hold on, hold on, hold
don't
on. Hold on. I just don't like being near people when they stare, when I see them being afraid of me. You could, he says, he gives an example of he tells him a story, he narrates a story. He says, if you don't like being with people, then what you could do, you could just lock yourself up in a room and never leave it. And once a man actually did that. There was a man who did that. He was afraid, you see, of everything in this world. He was afraid of dying, and he felt that a bus might run him over, or a man might breathe deadly germs onto him, or a donkey might kick him to death, or lightning might strike him down, or he might love a girl and the girl would leave him, and he might slip on a banana skin and fall, and people who saw him would laugh their heads off. So he was afraid of each and everything. So what he did, he just went into his room, he just locked the door, and he got into his bed and he stayed there for days together. Did he ask forever? No, for a while. Then what happened? A picture fell off the wall onto his head and killed him. So Derry laughs a lot. He finds the story very amusing that you could, and he says you can also do that. You can lock yourself up because you don't like company, but that is not going to help you in any way. This is what he wants to say, and he gives the example of that man through this story. But you still say peculiar things. He says my things might sound peculiar, strange to some. And then Derry is interested in him. He wants to know what Mr. Lamb does the entire day. So he says, I just sit in the sun, I like reading books. You thought it was an empty house? If you go inside, it is full. It is full of books, it is full of other things. It is full. Okay? But there aren't any curtains at the windows. I don't see any curtains. Why is it that your house, your rooms don't have curtains? I am not fond of curtains. Shutting things out, shutting things in. I like light coming into my house. I like to see rain through my windows. I like to see the sun shining. I like when the sun sets. So he says, I don't like shutting things out, and I either like shutting things in. I like the light, I like the darkness, and the windows open to hear the wind. Yes, I like that too. When it's raining, I like to hear it on the roof. He says, even I like to hear the sound of the rain. So underline the next line. He says, so you are not lost. Are you not altogether? You do hear things, you listen. That means you're not altogether lost. What does he want to say through these lines? What does Mr. Lamb want to say through this? So you're not lost, not altogether. You do hear things. क्या मतलब है बच्चे इसका? What does he mean by this? You're not lost altogether. What does he want to say? Yes, Malvika?
To say Mr. Lamp want to say that Derry not like he likes some things and not he dislike do not likes all the things but like some of them, like he is not very fond of people but still he wants to Mr. Lamp wants to say that he likes rain, so there are
So
some things.
this means now he's not just focusing on the things. This means that if he says he's Gunu says that means he's not always bothered about his face. He's not just focusing on this. He wants to say that he's not all, by saying he's not altogether lost. He wants to say that there's still a ray of hope. There's some hope left in Delhi. Okay. Next, Alam and Rhythm. Continue.
Talk about me downstairs when I'm not there. What will he ever do? How will he on? However, will he get on in this world looking like that with that on his face? That's what they say.
Lord, boy, you have got two arms, two legs, and eyes and ears. You have got a tongue and a brain. You will get on the way you want, like all the rest. And if you choose and set your mind to it, you could get on better than all the rest.
How?
Same way as I do.
Do you have any friends?
Hundreds.
But you live by yourself in that house. It's a big house too.
Friends everywhere. People come in. Everybody knows me. The gate's always open. They come and sit here and in front of the fire in winter. Kids come for the apples and pears and for toffee. I make toffee with honey. Anybody comes, so have you.
But I'm not a friend.
Certainly you are. So far as I'm concerned, what have you done to make me think you're not?
You don't know me. You don't know where I come from, or even what my name is.
Why should that signify? Do I have to write all your particulars down and put them in a filing box before you can be a friend?
I suppose not. No.
You could tell me your name if you choose, and not if you didn't.
Terry. It's Derek, but I hate that. Terry. If I'm your friend, you don't have to be mine. I choose that.
Certainly.
I might never come back. I might never come. I might never come here again. You might never see me again, and then I couldn't still be a friend.
Why not?
How could I? You pass people in the street and you might even speak to them, but you never see them again. It doesn't mean they are friends.
Doesn't mean they are enemies either, does it?
No, they are just nothing. People, that's all.
People are never just nothing. Never.
Okay, hold on, hold on, hold
There
on.
are some
Hold
people.
on, Alam, hold on, just wait, let me just explain. Okay, so he says, there he says they talk about me, even my family members, they talk about me, and what downstairs when I am not there. If they don't see me around, then they talk about me, and what do they say about me? And they say, what will he ever do? What's going to happen to him when we have gone, when we are not there in his life? What is when we die? His parents, his relatives, they talk about such things. However, will he get on in this world? How is he survive in this world with such kind of a face, with that on his face? That is what my family members, my relatives say about me. Lord boy, you've got two arms, you've got two legs and eyes and ears, and you've got a tongue and a brain. You'll get on the way you want. He says, face is not everything. Why are you just concentrating on one aspect of your life? You have an entire body, all your body parts are functioning. And if you will get on the way you want, like all the rest of the people, you are going to make something out of your life. And if you chose and set your mind to it, you could get on better than all the rest. So instead of concentrating on that aspect of your life, your disability, start focusing on the other aspects. Start focusing on what you're going to your make some aims in your life, have some ambition, and try and work on fulfilling those. How? Same way as I do. You have any friends? Hundreds. Mr. Lamb says, I have hundreds of friends. Underline this, hundreds. Underline this. We'll talk about it later. Just underline it for the time being. But you live by yourself in that house. It's a big house too. He says, I've got friends everywhere. People come in. Everybody knows me, and I always keep my gates open. They come and they sit here and in front of the fire in winter. Kids come for the apples and pears and for toffee. I make toffee with honey. Anybody comes, so have you. He says people are always welcome. Children come for getting apples, they come for toffees because I make toffees with honey. And people come in just like you have today. But I'm not a friend. Certainly you are. So far as I am concerned, what have you done to make me think you are not? You've not done anything wrong. Why should I think that you are not my friend? You don't know me. You don't know where I come from or even what my name is. He says, what's in a name? Why should that signify? How is getting to know a person uh, equivalent to getting to know his name? Why should that signify? Do I have to write all your particulars down and put them in a filing box before you can be a friend? सारे particulars में लिख लूंगी, तुम कहाँ से आए हो, तुम्हारा नाम क्या है, इससे पहले कि मैं तुम्हें अपना friend बनाऊं. Do I have to do all this? I suppose not. No. You could tell me your name if you chose and not if you didn't. It is your choice. If you want to tell me your name, you can. If you don't want to disclose your name, you may not. Okay? Derry. Only it's Derek, but I hate it. Derry. If I'm your friend, you don't have to be mine. I choose that. He says, okay, you can count me in your list of friends, but that doesn't mean that you would be my friend too. Certainly. I might never come here again. You might never see me again. And then I couldn't still be a friend. Why not? He says, मैं आज के बाद यहाँ पे शायद कभी भी ना आऊँ, कभी भी आपसे ना मिलूँ, फिर तो मैं आपका friend रहूँगा ही नहीं. He says, why? Mr. Lamb says, why not? How could I? You pass people in the street and you might even speak to them, but you never see them again. It doesn't mean they are friends. Every day you meet n number of people crossing your path on the streets or in the malls or anywhere, but that doesn't mean that those people are your friend. Doesn't mean they are enemies either, does it? कहते हैं कि अगर friends नहीं हम उनको कह सकते तो क्या दुश्मन कहेंगे? They are not our enemies also. We cannot call them enemies. Okay? No, they are just nothing people, that's all. He says no, because he doesn't know how to explain this. So he says, Derry says, they're just nothing. People are never just nothing, never. How can you say that people are nothing? This is what Mr. Lamb says. How can you just negate them to a zero? How can you say that they don't have an entirety? So how can you call people nothing? This is what Mr. Lamb has to say. Yes, Derry, continue. Alam, there are some people I hate.
There are some people I hate.
That would do you more harm than any bottle of acid. Acid only burns your face.
Only
Like a bomb only blew up my leg. There's worse things that can happen. You can burn yourself away inside.
after I had come, one person said he would have been better off stopping in the hospital. He would have been better off with others like himself. He thinks blind people only off with other blind people, and idiot boys with idiot boys.
And people with no legs altogether.
That's right.
What kind of a world would that be?
At least there would be nobody to stare at you because you weren't like them.
So you think you are just the same as all the other people with burnt faces, just by what you look like. Everything's different. Everything's the same, but everything is different itself.
How do you make all that out?
Watching, listening, thinking.
I would like a place like this, a garden. I would like a house with no curtain.
The gate's always open.
But this isn't mine.
Everything's yours if you want it. What's mine isn't anybody's.
So I could come here again. Even if you were out, I could come here.
Certainly, you might find others here, of course.
Oh,
Well, that need not stop you. You need not mind.
it would stop them. They would mind me. When they saw me here, they look at my face and run.
Okay, fine. Hold on. So he says, some people I hate. There are certain people in my life whom I hate. That would do more harm than any bottle of acid. Acid only burns your face. What does he mean by this? He says that like a bomb only blew up my leg. If you have hatred inside you for people, then it can burn your. You can burn yourself away inside. What does he mean to say by this? There's worse things can happen. You can burn yourself away inside. Underline this. You can burn yourself away inside. What does he try to say?
From this, he wants to say that he'll create poison in him by hating other people.
Yes.
This sentence, he also says that basically, if you have negative emotions inside you, like hate, if you hate some people, it would just destroy you from inside. Hating someone gives you some negative thoughts, and because of those negative thoughts, only negative feelings, emotions are pent up inside you. That would not destroy someone else, but yourself.
Yes, and that is why it says it would burn you from inside, or you will have negativity only inside you, and that is going to do more harm than any bottle of acid could do to anyone. Acid only burns your face. This is what he means to say by this line. After I come home, one a person said, he'd have been better off stopping in there in the hospital. He'd be better off with others like himself. So what did that person want to say? जब मैं हॉस्पिटल से आया वो क्या बोलना चाहता था कि जैसे इसका फेस बर्न है, ये हॉस्पिटल में रहता तो अपने जैसे लोगों के साथ रहता, जैसे उस वार्ड में तो ठीक रहता. That person, she thinks that blind people only ought to be with other blind people and idiot boys with idiot boys and people with no legs altogether. That's right. So this is what this was what the opinion of the lady was. Do you think? And Mr. Lamb says, yes. What kind of a world would that be? Yes. Why does he say so, Mr. Lamb? What kind of a world would that be? Why does Mr. Lamb say so? कैसा बोलो विश्वजीत?
All the handicapped, if all the handicapped people live together in the same ward or in the same place, so ma'am, they would not be like judged by other people, and moreover, ma'am, they will have similar type of feelings like okay, everyone around them is here, so they will not feel that they are less than the others.
So, do you think we should have such kind of a world? Do you think we should have a world in which the people with similar handicaps should stay together, Alan?
Don't think that we have this kind of world because everywhere difference is needed to make yourself unique, and also, ma'am, because such homogeneous environment will lead to nothing. There should be different people altogether living.
Yes, yes, we have to have people with all sorts of characteristics living together. That is why we are having inclusive education. If you look at into your school education also, that is why we have people with children with disabilities. We don't call them disabled now. We call them differently able. You must be you must have heard about that term CWSN. What is CWSN? Children with special needs. Okay, and we have inclusive education. We have those children also being incorporated into our school, into the mainstream, so that they also get to know about the world.
Therefore, such a world that is proposed by one of Derry's neighbors, who says that the handicapped should live amongst others like them, is not a world which is acceptable, because it would make the lives of the handicapped even more miserable. And the disabled actually need a world full of compassion and acceptance, where they're accepted by all others. That would be all for today.